January, the start of a new year, new beginnings, if you will. You can get back into your old routine, or you can start a brand new routine. Get back to the gym, start a new diet, if you will. That leads me to my next thing, veganism. During the month of January, a lot of people try being vegan. It's called Veganuary, and it's a thing, believe it or not. I tried it for a week. It was a little bit difficult, but I survived. What I want to do is find out all about veganism here in Ireland. Who are they? Is it easy to be vegan? So I've gone out and chatted to some people in the know, and starting with Holly White, who is a vegan extraordinaire. I want to get at the reasoning why you do it for a regular, everyday person who's busy, doesn't have an insane amount of money. Like, how much money does it did you notice that you were spending a lot more money? It's cheaper because I have read that it might be a little bit more expensive.
No, like your first shop might be expensive, but what I find is a lot of, say, your main, how I work it is typically each month I will do a big food shop. Like say all your pulses, your grains, your lentils, your nuts. The great thing about them is the shelf life is really, really long. So if ever you see like 3 for 2 or anything like that, I'll always bulk buy. And Asian market is a brilliant place to go and get all of that. And then typically each week I will just do like a small fruit and veg shop, because you're not dealing with like fish, eggs, dairy, things that'll perish or go off.
Was it at the beginning difficult for you? I know, even though you've got these amazing things that it's going to achieve and you're doing your piece for the environment and the world, but like realistically.
Oh no, totally. And the thing for me was that once I had the why, it was great, as in I was very motivated. And I think it's really important for people to kind of think about it beforehand. I really tried to see, okay, what does the lifestyle actually mean? So I had my why, but the how took ages, and for the first 6 months I've no problem admitting I lived off, and this sounds delicious but it did get very boring, soup, potato fries, guacamole, pasta, tomato sauce, and like smoothies, and that was literally it. And it sounds really tasty, but after 6 months I was like, oh my god, I'm hitting a wall. And like also I reached a point where I was like, no one is going to come over for dinner, this is ridiculous.
Obviously everyone's seen Game Changers and people are like, maybe I should do this plant-based thing, but I think supplements, they seem to play a big part in being vegan. So how did you kind of get used to that?
So I get my bloods tested, and I think that's really important. It's a really simple GP test, and they can look at your iron levels. And I think for people, even vegan or not, it's really important to look at, is there supplementation that you need? Because in times of stress, if you exercise loads, unfortunately, you sometimes do need that extra support. So I actually worked with Mars Pharmacy, and we came up with this kind of bundle of the 4 vegan supplements that everyone needs. So you have your B12, which is essential for vegans to supplement.
I guess I'm interested about going out for dinner. So would you always go to vegan places? I know there's not many, but would you go to vegan places, or what do you do?
I always prioritise catching up with my friends whenever I'm out. Like, that's nourishing on so many levels. And then on a secondary thing, if they're booking a restaurant, like I find anywhere Asian, usually really, really easy to cater to. You can get great vegan sushi. In terms of stir fries, they usually have loads of tofu, so they can throw that into a curry. So I'll usually bring in advance, and I find if you give places notice, they're thrilled. It's if you turn up, don't be surprised if there isn't an option, because as I said, it is an antisocial choice.
I do like that. I like that you're kind of admitting to it.
And I suppose probably what I'm kind of most committed to now is really elevating people's perceptions of how good vegan food can be.
You know, there's a few vendors and pop-ups that are doing, let's say, like a steak, but it's not meat.
It's made from a thing called seitan. It's actually like a gluten that you can use as a base, and then there's loads of things. Like, there's one thing that I use here in the Marion we have, it's a vegan bacon, which is kind of cool, but you get aubergine, but you can use like paprika and then maple, and then also use a thing called liquid smoke, and it actually does give you that kind of smoky charred flavour. But in general with meat substitutes, if I'm completely honest, they're not really for me.
As you said, we're here at the Marion, you've kind of done a whole vegan menu, but like you said there, it's not just for vegans. It's kind of, it can cover you if you don't drink milk, or you're lactose intolerant or anything like that.
Or even if you're just into tasty food.
Or even if you just, that's a
which
great
is
one.
No, but that's so important to me, because the thing is, like, not one of my friends, none of my family would identify as vegan. But the thing is, I think it's great. Like, what I love is, I think even if people are kind of curious in different foods, different textures. Like, I think even if you're just interested in food, there's more variety.
Holly White was actually the first person to introduce me to the word vegan, and it hasn't left my vocabulary. But it is nice to hear that the vegan lifestyle is becoming, I don't know, more accessible, and there's more options in restaurants and things like that. Now, when I was vegan for a week, there was one thing that kept popping up, and Holly mentioned it just there. Supplements. They are very important when it comes to the vegan diet. So I went to find out from a dietitian, Maeve Hanan, how important supplements actually are and how you can incorporate them in your new lifestyle. But I also wanted to find out her true and honest opinion on Netflix's Game Changers. Are you a vegan yourself?
I'm not. No.
You're not? Okay, well, do you mind if I ask, what are you?
Yeah, I follow a predominantly plant-based diet, and
Okay.
I think that's really important to make the distinction. So plant-based diet, there's actually no one definition. It's this broad spectrum of anything from someone has a few meat-free meals during the week
Yeah.
to someone who's completely vegan.
Okay.
And I think the kind of the flexitarian sort of approach, where it's basically you have lots of plants in the diet.
Yeah.
That's a really healthy way, but you don't necessarily need to exclude food groups or put a very strict label on it.
Okay.
That does work for some people. Again, it's all individual.
I'm sure you saw Game Changers on Netflix, did you?
Did.
Okay, everyone's talking about it. What did you think, first of all?
Really didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No, it
Okay.
was really scaremongering, really sensationalist, and a lot of bad science in there. In Game Changers specifically, people had whole teams around them, making sure they were doing it right. But individuals can absolutely have a really balanced, healthy vegan diet. What you need is a good variety of plant-based foods, and
Okay.
especially lots of different types of plant-based proteins, so you're getting all the essential amino acids that your body needs. Another really important thing then is the supplements. Any of us living in Ireland should be considering taking vitamin D this time of year anyway.
Okay, that's
So-
just whether you're vegan or not. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
We just don't get the sunshine here. For women of childbearing age, we should be considering a 400 microgram folic acid supplement as well.
Okay.
So again, that's regardless vegan or not. And then for vegans on top of that, the most important ones to supplement are usually vitamin B12, iodine and omega-3.
Okay.
So a vegan diet can be safe and appropriate at all life stages.
And are you seeing more people, more vegans coming in, or,
Yeah.
or more people asking about should they go plant-based?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, really?
Especially in the younger generation.
Okay, so what are we
Yeah.
talking about, teens?
Yeah, yeah.
And they're just interested. Are these would these be predominantly teens with eating disorders?
It's quite common, to be honest. There's
Okay.
a big overlap between people following plant-based diets and disordered eating, and that can sort of go in both directions, that relationship,
Yeah.
because a diet where you take out food groups can sort of mask the eating disorder, or it could be the opposite way around. Maybe the eating disorder is encouraging somebody to pull back on the variety of foods, or it's a lower calorie way of eating usually.
Okay.
So for that reason, sometimes it can happen. So that's where, again, it comes back to the individual and the context. So if somebody has an eating disorder or is recovering from one, it can be so triggering for them to intentionally cut out food groups.
Okay.
So it may not be in their best interest.
Okay.
But then there may be someone else who's fully recovered and they have a really good relationship with food and they're really motivated by the ethical side of things. And if they do it in the right way, it might be okay for them.
As Maeve said there, supplements. Supplements are key to any successful vegan diet. So if you're going to be vegan, you have to look into your supplements. Sorry. Now, when I was trying being vegan for a week, I ate a lot of vegetables. I ate greens, oranges, yellows, purple, all of the colours, all the veg. I really missed crisps because most crisps are not vegan. They have a milk powder in them. I was just as surprised as you. But the thing is, nowadays, you don't actually have to miss out on the deliciousness of things like burgers and kebabs and chicken fillet rolls, because they have fake chicken fillet rolls and vegan kebabs and all those things. So this brings me to my next guest, Sam Pearson. He is from a farming family and now owns the Vegan Sandwich Company, responsible for the fake chicken fillet roll. Okay, Vegan Sandwich Company means, I guess I'm taking it that you're a vegan.
Yes.
So how long have you been vegan?
So I've been vegan for 3 years.
Okay, and was that an easy process?
Most of my life I've been either kind of vegetarian or vegan or like an ethical meat eater, I suppose.
Okay.
So eating meat that I knew where it come from, or I would have considered ethical at the time.
Like now you said you have a sandwich shop. So is it it's a pop-up that kind of...
Yeah, so I do, at the moment I do 2 markets a week.
Okay.
So they're both in honest to goodness in Glasnevin.
Okay.
So on Thursdays I do vegan chicken fillet rolls, and on Saturdays I do a vegan breakfast menu of vegan breakfast muffins.
Okay, so this is the thing, you do delicious food that we would associate with, well, a chicken fillet roll obviously has
Yeah.
lots of meat in it, but you do it as vegan.
Definitely.
So what is it made of?
So I kind of, with my business, I'm all about plant-based food without the compromise.
Okay.
Like it's not your kind of vegetable and tomato mush that people anticipate with vegan food. It is plant-based food that's just like you used to have when you ate meat.
Okay.
But without any of the ethical or the environmental impact.
Okay, and would your customers be predominantly vegans or do they range?
Definitely a range.
Okay, and do you think it's something that, I guess, regular people, because we've seen Game Changers on Netflix, and they are all athletes, so they train all the time, they're plant-based,
Yeah.
and it just seemed like something that's easy if you're an athlete and you have access to all these amazing foods. But for a regular person? Do you think it's easy to actually do?
I actually really do now. I think a few years ago I would have maybe said something different.
Okay.
I still think you have to be very conscious of making sure that you're eating the right kind of foods, because
Okay.
a vegan diet doesn't necessarily equate to a healthy diet. You can still have a diet with veganism that doesn't give you all the nutrients that you need,
Okay.
but just the same that you could if you ate meat and you only ate meat every day for the rest of your life. So you still have to think about having kind of a rounded diet,
Okay.
but the kind of options that are out there now, like you can walk into any restaurant, you can walk into any shop and you can find a vegan option, which for me is like, now I can have now there's readily available options everywhere.
I have tried one of those fake chicken fillet rolls and it was absolutely delicious. I also tried a vegan kebab, which was equally as delicious. So you are not missing out on any of the tasty things like that if you become vegan. Other things that I learned from talking to people in the know here in Ireland and from experiencing veganism firsthand for a week is that supplements, they are a must. So if you're thinking of going vegan, look into your supplements. Game Changers on Netflix isn't for everyone, and those fake chicken fillet rolls are an absolute must in your diet. Also, if you don't like dark chocolate, you're gonna have to get used to it, and it is difficult because I am a milk chocolate lover, so that was a little bit difficult for me. If you are planning on being vegan, just keep in mind, don't do it for the wrong reasons, do it for the right reasons, don't do it for a fad. And it turns out that veganism here in Ireland, it works once they get the crisps sorted out.